Since last night, some pretty hefty allegations have been thrown around the crypto space. The SEC is now literally stating that Coinbase knew what they were doing, and they knew that what they were doing was wrong. For all of you that do not know, this is a very hefty allegation, as it goes from, hey, we're suing you, Coinbase, because you are doing something wrong, to basically fraud now. They're basically saying you knew what you were doing was absolutely faulty, hurting people against the rules, and you still went on through. And it spices up the entire lawsuit, and lawyers have had a lot to say about it, so let's cover that in this video. But before we move on, guys, if you've not done it yet, make sure you press that like button. The last couple of videos have been doing really well in terms of likes. And so if you're enjoying the daily crypto content, make sure you get those likes up there. And like we were saying, Coinbase knew it violated securities law, the SEC says. Lawyers for the US SEC took an incredulous tone to Coinbase's argument that it did not know it violated the securities laws. The agency also argued that the approval of a 2021 IPO statement did not mean it rubber-stamped all of the company's business practices. Now, let me say one thing straight away, and that is that I think it's extremely funny that Coinbase delisting XRP might ultimately be one of their downfalls. I still believe Coinbase will win, and I still believe that most cryptos listed on Coinbase right now as we speak will eventually come out in the clear as well. However, if you think about it, Coinbase taking off XRP, to a lot of people can be viewed as them knowing they've been letting people trade a security, and now because of the SEC's official allegations, etc., they're deciding to take it off. That's just my stance, but let's quickly move on with the article. I should quickly add that this all came after Coinbase basically said they want to throw the case out. Again, we saw Coinbase's motion to dismiss only a couple of days ago, and now the SEC lawyers are basically stating that they think that Coinbase can't throw it out because they knew what they were doing. Quote, Coinbase, a multi-billion-dollar entity advised by sophisticated legal counsel, argues it was unaware that its conduct risked violating the federal securities laws, and suggests that by approving Coinbase's IPO in 2021, the SEC basically confirmed the legality of Coinbase's underlying business activities at the time and for all time. SEC lawyers wrote Judge Catherine Polk-Villela of the Southern District Court of New York. In other words, Coinbase adopted the very legal framework as a basis for making listing decisions that it now claims has no applicability to its activities. Anyway, let's just read what the Coinbase chief legal officer had to say. After Coinbase gave notice of it intend to move to throw out their case, we consented to a few extra days for the SEC to explain why it intends to oppose. They've now filed, and sadly, it's more of the same. They ignore the plain requirement in the Supreme Court's holding in Howey decades ago that an investment contract first and foremost requires enforceable rights against an issuer. It requires more than just an investment of money, etc. They ignore their obligation to give due regard to the public interest and investor protection when they allowed us to list publicly over 2 years ago. They ignore the statement of their own chair a month later in testimony before Congress that there are no regulatory authorities applicable to cryptocurrency exchanges like us. They ignored the clear and unmistakable warnings of the Supreme Court just last week against regulatory overreach in major questions reserved to Congress. And on it goes, ignoring these dispositive points, but apparently we agree on one thing. Many of these issues can and should be decided promptly as matters of law. Read it for yourselves. It's so interesting the way the SEC likes to write. Ignoring more than 75 years of controlling law under Howey, Coinbase attempts to construct its own test for what constitutes an investment contract from pre-1933 blue sky laws based on common law contracts principles. Coinbase makes two related and equally flawed arguments. One, An investment contract must be or include a formal common law contract. And 2, even if a crypto asset is considered an investment contract when it's first offered and sold by the issuer, the same asset cannot be an investment contract when traded between non-issuers on a platform like Coinbase's, because secondary market transactions not involving its issuer are merely asset sales. Both arguments are wrong. And then you have the SEC obviously arguing against Coinbase's points, which is just weak. And the same thing goes for separation of power. I mean, the SEC is doing what they basically always do. It's to push the blame right back. And whenever we're talking about, hey, you don't have the authority, all they state is, yeah, we do. And there's really nothing we can say against it anymore, because they, from a certain perspective, have just claimed crypto authority. And who are we to say, well, you can't govern over us when you're suing us, right? Anyway, take a look at this. John Dean says no one has been more critical of Coinbase's inconsistent responses than Bill. What is this about? Well, let's take a little bit of a look, right? So John Dean, a little bit ago, was talking again about the amicus status of a lot of crypto holders that basically join in on the Coinbase lawsuit as they want to be represented as well. I had this previous tweet open just now, right here, and then I clicked and I scrolled up. For if you are wondering, I accidentally didn't show my screen. And again, before we move on, make sure you have that like button pressed. Let's go. So Coinbase's customers' potential amicus is at 2,500. If you believe Gary and the SEC are doing the right thing with your interests at heart, you should not join. If you don't want the SEC to speak for you, or Coinbase for that matter, you should consider joining. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is saying, hey, Coinbase nor the SEC are accurately representing me as a crypto holder that's being basically hurt through the process of all of this. Now, Bill Morgan had this to say, who's also a lawyer. John, despite the abject failure of Coinbase to explain the inconsistency between its continuing decision not to allow secondary market XRP trading on its exchange while deciding to continue trading of other coins, which again, we have all been pretty critical of as well. How can Coinbase say they're basically following all the proper rules when at first they were proper bitches about it by taking off XRP, being so weak-handed, weak-minded, and then all of a sudden trying to get everybody's support when it comes for them, right? They should have had this solidarity when it concerned the entirety of crypto. When the SEC went against XRP, they didn't have it then. And now they're like, oh, no, we're fighting for crypto. Well, you're not fully doing that, which is why Bill is a little bit against them for being inconsistent, right? They're just literally throwing XRP out the window. But then when the bullet, I guess, comes for them, they're like, no, let's it's kind of weak. So allowing secondary market XRP trading on its own exchange while deciding to continue trading of other coins and its own staking service called Securities by the SEC. So once more, the SEC has basically alleged the similar to all different things, but the XRP is the only thing that took off. So Bill says, I supported against the SEC in the SEC complaint and petition matters. Therefore, as I have, but refuse to use while XRP trading is halted, a Coinbase account, and fully support your initiative. I completed the form and encourage others in the XRP community to do so as well. And the point here being, we are not for Coinbase. I am not for Coinbase. I don't care if they literally go out of business today, right now, today. No, but I am here to represent myself and to make sure that crypto goes nowhere in a negative light, right? And that the SEC can't destroy it. I've said many times before, crypto does not need the US. It's a fact. And the SEC cannot destroy crypto however hard they try. But we want to minimize their effect, because the more they keep pushing, the more they keep pressuring, I'd say just the more that retail misses out. Institutions are building, baby. BlackRock is coming in, and all these other funds, they know there's money in this industry, and they want to capitulate on that. They want to capture that as much as possible. And the thing is, the only ones that are really scared of the SEC are the normal people watching the news, the retail, the person with $10,000 in their bank, not the people with $4 billion in their bank account. They don't care. The funds with $10 trillion like BlackRock, they don't care about the SEC. They're higher up on the freaking food chain. And again, I've stated this before many times. Yes, companies will want to work with cryptos less at the start because of US type of friction and trouble. But the US really, from a partnerships perspective, is not that big a deal. And if we're really being serious about it, let's say a company really did want to partner up with a crypto, and that crypto is not based in the US. This company probably has a subsidiary in another part of the world that could still partner up. A good example is, let's say we call an Apple out there, Apple as a company. Even though they're headquartered in the US, how many freaking subsidiaries have they got in all these other countries? So even if something was not allowed in the US, they could, theoretically speaking, decide to partner up in other countries through other subsidiaries with other parts of the cryptocurrency company as well. I'm saying cryptocurrency company to make it sound a little bit easier. Obviously, the term crypto company is quite flawed, because what exactly is the company then? Is it the foundation behind it? Is it the funders? Is it the validators? Exactly who am I calling out there? When I say cryptocurrency company, I mean the body that usually decides partnerships. And for Bitcoin, I'd say you can never really sue them either, because who exactly are you going to go after, right? Bitcoin Foundation? Are you going to go after core developers? Are you going to go after early contributors? There's many you could. And by the way, I'm doing this not because I'm a freaking crack addict or anything. I'm fully doused in mosquito bites. And yeah, anyway, over the last, because I don't have too much to say about that anymore. Over the last couple of days as well, there's been so much speculation about Coinbase knowing some shady stuff. Will Wire just posted up that 4 top executives at Coinbase, including the CEO Brian Armstrong, have dumped massive amounts of shares in their Coinbase stock. This week, Brian made his largest sale ever, over $5.8 million, about $6 million, which is absolutely wild. Yeah, and this is basically an overview. You guys can't see it perfectly, but this is every week. It kind of depends, but every couple of days, I guess, of his sales. Not sure exactly why the order is so messed up. These top sales here are from April, then we've got June, then May, then March, then May, then June, then April, then March, and then now our July sale. And apparently he sold 75,000 shares at $78, $5.8 million, and he's still got 60 million shares to go. Indirectly. I'm not sure exactly how that means or whatever, but it seems that he's just selling this algorithmically. So he's just selling a certain amount every single week, every single month, or something along those lines. So it's probably not a big deal, but people still are not happy with this. And yeah, man, I mean, people say FUD about this whole Coinbase debacle, but I'm not going to say it's actually FUD. I think it's quite real. This fear is honestly quite on the spot. Why? Well, Coinbase has previously acknowledged that some cryptos listed on its platform might be securities, the SEC argues. So what's not being said is that Coinbase themselves have actually basically admitted that some of them are. And I'd say again that the main reason for that could be that they did, I guess, take off XRP for probably violating the rules, which is why at the start of the video I said this whole thing might come full circle with the idea that Coinbase screwed themselves over by taking XRP off and now not being able to forever argue that nothing they list is a security and they don't agree by those rules, because they did take a cryptocurrency off because they also thought that after the SEC alleged it was actually a security. So now it's going to be way harder for the Coinbase to dodge that bullet. But yeah, anyway, it's about to be a very interesting battle, and obviously I'm going to be following it every single day whenever something comes out. Today, there's been many cool updates that I'll share over on this channel, but if you not have the notification bell on, I highly recommend you guys to do so. And I know you guys don't like me asking, but if you've not joined the Discord yet, a link is down below at the top of the description right there, which is basically a link to a cool group chat with me, a lot of other cool people in there, and well, you can hopefully talk about crypto in there, ask some questions, give some advice to people, talk about trading, maybe ask some trading advice, ask some tips, this, that. It's a pretty cool place. I recommend you guys to check it out. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys later. Make sure you put the notification bell on, and adios.